Hello, everyone. Have you ever had anyone say to you, "You know what you would be great at?" And they're wrong? They're wrong with, I don't know, sprinkles on it? And you look at them and they're smiling at you and you think dropped on their head as a child? You don't actually listen to their idea, I hope. You don't say, "Gee, do you think maybe I should try it?" You don't, right? You follow your own path. You listen to your inner voice saying, "Run, run like the wind, damn it." You see, I didn't used to run like the wind. When people would say, "You know what you'd be great at?" I'd think they knew what they were talking about and I'd try it. I don't know why. Probably because I was dropped on my head as a child. One day, a great example of this happened to me when I was between television shows. My first show was a huge hit. It was wonderful. I got to dress up and look elegant and fabulous and interview very, very successful people. We did a great show. We won awards. In fact, we won the biggest award you can get. And then the next week, we were canceled. And there you are, really. Everyone knows your name. They're still congratulating you for that award you won, and you can't afford gas. So anyway, that day, a really, really dear friend of mine said, "You know what you'd be great at?" And I thought what they were going to say to me was going to make sense because they were a friend of mine, and I didn't think that they were certifiable. And I said, "What?" And they said, "Singing telegrams." And I said, you know that I can't sing, right? I mean, they've passed a bylaw." And they said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You can sing happy birthday. Anybody can sing happy birthday. Sing it really loud, sing it fast, and run. It'll be fine. And by the way, you make money. And you're in costume. Nobody will know it's you." And I said, "Well, what the hell? I mean, the rent was due and I had no gas in the car, and so they advanced me the money and I put gas in the car and I showed up for the job," which is not going and singing happy birthday in a costume. It is filling the car with bunches of inflated balloons and going and singing happy birthday in a costume. And when I say filling the car, I mean there is almost room for you behind the wheel. So you do that, and then you go back in the building and you put on the stupid costume and you look like an idiot. You put on enough makeup that nobody will know it's you. And you get back in the car and you have to fight your way in because the balloons thought it was just going to be them. And you get in, close the door, slam, and then you discover that you have to pull out into traffic in reverse, which is a fascinating exercise in a car filled with balloons because, of course, the only people who can see are the balloons and they don't drive. So you manage to get into traffic without, killing anyone. And you race off because now you're late. And oh, by the way, it started to rain. And you're driving along and you discover a very interesting thing about inflated balloons. They're curious. If you slam on the brakes, they rush to the front. They want to see what happened. If you accelerate, they rush to the back because they're terrified. As well they should be, really, if I'm driving. So there you are on the highway and you're racing along, and all of a sudden you realize that you're not going to make it unless you can pass this truck. So you pull out into the passing lane and realize that you have almost enough time to make it and avoid the oncoming ambulance. And so you accelerate like hell. All of the balloons but one rush to the back, terrified. The one that doesn't rush to the back is the one right beside your ear, and it goes bang. I don't mean it goes bang. I mean it goes bang. And your heart stops and you swerve and the ambulance swerves and the truck swerves. But you get in. You get in just in time and you slither around on the slick surface because it has just started to rain. And you make it finally to the building. And it's the, I don't know, headquarters of something or other. You park the car and then you realize that during the drive, all of the balloons have become friends. And they don't want any of them to leave. So it's kind of a wrestling match out there in the parking lot in the rain. You finally get the balloons, and what you have in your hand is 12 balloons and a raisin. The raisin is the balloon that exploded beside your ear in the passing lane. You walk to the building. By the time you get to the building, you are soaking wet but you're in a clown costume. You know, like nobody's going to know. And besides, enough makeup except for the stuff that has smeared now because of the rain. Really, you're fine. You open the door and you discover an interesting thing about the headquarters of whatever the hell it is. It's so cold inside they could keep dead fish there. By the time you reach the desk where the security guy is, you feel a cold coming on, but you are nothing if not a soldier, and you, by golly, are going to sing that birthday song. So you tell the chap at the desk that you need to see so-and-so, and he says, okay, calls the person, and then says, you have to sign in. Sign in, you say, standing there with a clown costume on and 12 balloons and a raisin? What for? And he says, we have to know who you are and what you're doing here. So it's a long story, what you're doing there, because it starts with, as a child, you should have taken accounting, you know, and so you just say, fine, give me the pen, you sign in, clown, comma, wet. And he doesn't look at it because they do keep dead fish there. He hands you a little thing that says visitor, and you say, thank you very much. And he says, no, you have to wear it. So I'm a visiting clown, as opposed to all the clowns who are there every day. I clip the thing on the costume, and all of a sudden I hear footsteps, and oh, it's the woman who's going to take me to see the poor schnob whose birthday it is today. And she's, oh my God, excited. She is channeling her inner child, the one with the pigtails waiting for the pony. And she's bouncing up and down, taking you through this endless maze of places. And finally, you get to one, and it looks exactly like all the others, except, I guess, to her. And she says, here we are. And I looked around, I said, yes, but we're the only ones. Oh, I know. We're going to hide you, and then we're going to go get him. So we is her, I guess. Hide me is, where are you going? There's a closet. I said, you're not going to put me in a closet. She said, yes, we're going to put you in the closet. And I said, yeah, but I have all these balloons. Slam, I'm in the closet. Me, 12 balloons, a raisin, a wet costume, in the dark. Just kind of there. Doing pretty much nothing for all eternity. Chewing thoughtfully on a mint you find in the pocket of a coat. At least you hope it's a mint. Wondering what you're going to have for supper. Wondering why no one said you should take that accounting course. Wondering if that cute guy you met last week is going to call. And you're gone. You know, you're far, far away at the moment when they fling open the door and yell surprise. And your heart stops for the second time. But you are a trooper. By golly, you're a trooper. So I leapt out, and I knew whose birthday it was. It was the poor schnook who looked exactly like me, only without the makeup. And I leapt around and I danced and I sang happy birthday really loud, and only 3 or 4 people winced when I hit the wrong notes. And I handed the guy the balloons, and then I opened his other palm and I handed him the raisin, and then I kissed him on the cheek and I said, ta-da, gotta go, and ran outside, closed the door, and realized that the woman who is going to pay me was still in there. So I had to stand in the hallway dressed like a clown with no balloons to explain anything, except that I did have that badge on that said visitor. So a few people who walked by just sort of smiled tentatively. And then she came out and said, oh my God, that was the best time ever, chattered all the way down to the front desk and pays me and leaves. And I turned to the guy at the desk and I said, see ya. Not really meaning see ya. I have no intention of ever going back there. And he says, you need to sign out. Well, of course I do. So I signed out. And I need the badge back. Certainly, give him the badge. And I looked down, and there's a rust spot where the pin has contacted the wet costume. So now I have a rust spot in the middle of my chest, which is sort of a metaphor for my entire career at that point. And I walk outside. It's raining even harder. I get to the car, and I realize that the keys are hanging there in the ignition. And I said, dear sweet baby Jesus, please tell me I didn't lock the door. And I reached the handle and I pulled it, and I hadn't. I hadn't, because the gods every so often say, you know, let's cut her some slack on this one. And I was sitting in the car with the door closed, getting ready to pull out to deliver the remaining balloons. in the rain when somebody tapped on the window. And I looked over, and it was just some random stranger. And I rolled down the window, and I said, "Yes?" And he said, "Yeah, hi. I didn't want to interrupt or anything, but aren't you Abby Haggard? I mean, you look exactly like Abby Haggard, that girl from that great show that won an award." And I said, "I'm her twin sister. I've been an embarrassment to the family my whole life." And he said, "Oh, sorry to hear that. Well, when you see Abby, tell her I'm a huge fan," and walked away. So, the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is that you need to stick with your gut instinct. When someone says, "You know what you'd be great at?" smack them in the face and walk. See you next time.